Hello and welcome to the SOS Show Live with Mary Evans. I'm your host with a strong belief that there is power in sharing stories. Our platform is committed to bringing you content that will motivate you to live your best life physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially, which leads to leaving a legacy and building generational wealth. I'm so excited about this show today. My words getting crossed up because I'm so interested in real estate. I'm here live downtown Pontiac, Michigan. A lot of our people here in the community, a couple of the guys have came together and purchased some land. Shout out to Max Main and a group of men that came together. And we know that purchasing land can change things for us. Before we get into this show, watch this short commercial.
So, you finally decided you want to enter the property group investing world, but you aren't sure what to do? Are you ready to get the money needed to make a big difference in your community? Well, in that case, you're lucky. Simply put, regular people that want to become real estate investors use a dedicated platform like Buy the Block, and they can help you buy the block in your local area if they so desire. Buy the Block is here to help. What do you have to do? 1. Be a little proactive. 2. Find a property. 3. Make an offer. 4. Bring the property to Buy the Block. 5. Get funded. 6. Buy the block. 7. Stop gentrification. 8. Repeat. Make an effort and we'll guide you through every step. Buy the Block will get you approved for your block offering and get you started on becoming a block developer today. To submit an offer to Buy the Block, you need to create an account and fill in the easy details. Once completed, one of our in-house block development success personnel will contact you. Once approved, watch investment dollars start rolling in. Buy the Block platform is the place where thousands of blockvestors are waiting to help you stop gentrification. Blockvestors have the benefit of low minimums. Some investors can offer up to $2,200. Others can opt for way less or more depending on their budget. Buy the Block real estate investment doesn't come with a significant entry level. In fact, it has great approachability. So what are you waiting for? Visit us at buytheblock.com right now and submit your block offer or become a Blockvestor today. Become a part of the Buy the Block movement. Join us now. Buy the Block is your way to get into a thriving industry and help your community.
Welcome back to the show. We have Miss Lynn Smith. She's the founder of Buy the Block. Please come and welcome her to the show. Miss Lynn Smith. I said this is going to be a hostile takeover because I have my pen and paper. I'm so excited about this show. I've always been dabbing in real estate a little bit, but in the last year, I've really been getting into the real estate. Here in Pontiac, Michigan, we had a group of guys that just purchased a big sums of land together. So this is exciting. And I want to learn. So what I'm going to do is let you take over the SOS show because you're teaching us. I have my pen, my paper ready. This is Miss Lynn Smith, all the way from Denver, Colorado. She is the founder of Buy the Block. And I have told family and friends, you're going to break it down for us so we have a clear understanding. We'll do a part 2. So I'm going to let you take over and tell us what inspired you to start Buy the Block. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mary. Okay, so for me, what inspired me to start Buy the Block is the fact that I wanted us to have a more role or a more significant role in the developments in our community. A lot of times we are subjected to, big developers, outside developers, out of state developers coming in, buying up the properties, beautifying them in whatever to their taste, their liking, and then a lot of times we get pushed out of those neighborhoods. So, more than we would like to admit, we get pushed out of those neighborhoods. So, being that, I wanted to provide a way for the community to be able to say, okay, you know what, we want to own this shopping plaza. We may not have, the money individually, but if we all put the money together, little by little, $100 at a time, $250 at a time, we can own the shopping plaza, and then we can share the revenue. We can share the profits. So we can share the profits as a community, as well as own and keep that development, or keep us as the owners of those properties. So that is the main reason for wanting to create this. I lived in a neighborhood where, the city planners decided that it's an all Black neighborhood, 80% population, and then out of nowhere they decided that their new theme is going to be an Asian theme, and there was no input from from the people that live there, the people that have voted, the people that have, paid taxes there. There was no input. Say that again.
I said, yes, you actually, that happens in every city as well. Mm-hmm. So you experienced that, and that motivated you to start looking into something like By the Block.
Yes.
Okay, we listening.
So what it allows developers to do is, if there's a development or a property that's available in an area, it's $500,000, and instead of going to hard money lenders or, being charged high interest rate, or trying to get your first commercial loan, and coming up with 20, 30, 50% down, you go to the community and say, hey guys, I'm going to negotiate this purchase of this property, and I have 60, 90, 30 days in order to raise the funds in order to buy this property with your help. And that's where the community comes in, and they use a platform like By the Block, and they invest, and they put put the funds together to be able to help raise get the total 500,000 that is needed to purchase that property. There is definitely some paperwork that we have to do in order to do that. Just to structure the deal properly, to make sure that every investor know what they're getting involved in, what role they're playing, their voting rights, if when they're going to see any profits, when they're going to share dividends, that type of stuff. But nonetheless, once we do that and have everything in black and white, it allows everyone to be, the process to be very transparent and very open and honest, as and very transparent and open and honest for every investor to know what they're getting involved in and how long it will take for them to see, something come to fruition out of this development. So yes.
I have a question for you, Lynn, because when I went on earlier, I said we're going to break it down. I really want people to understand this. This is really, really important. Great show. So I'm trying to buy a shopping plaza here in Michigan, right? I'm just creating this scenario. And it's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I put out to the community that this is something I'm attempting to do.
Yes.
So one of the things that makes you afraid is, like you talked about, the paperwork being lined up, all agreements, all of that seems to be overwhelming, where I think a lot of people that look like you and I can't even imagine making this deal happen.
Right.
When we come to you, By the Block, you would steer us through each part of this deal, making sure that we have the right paperwork. What would it take? Interest rate? What would be our investment, and what we possibly can get from? You take all of the worries out of bringing these 20 people together and making sure it's done right. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
So we help with that process, because there is definitely, for a lot of people, creating an offering memorandum, it's the first time they've ever heard this. They
Yeah.
don't know what that looks like. They don't know what this document is. They've never, for a lot of people in our community. So
Yes.
we guide them and show them, okay, here is what it looks like, and here's what you need to here's what you need to prepare. We let you know every step of the way, every document. Okay, so you need a shareholders agreement. Do you have more than one person that is part of your entity? So if that is the case, you need an agreement between all the shareholders to show them to let your investors know what role each shareholder is going to play and how much percentage they own in the company. So all of these things need to be created. So yes, we walk you through that process to let you know everything that you need on the back end. So, and all of this is made publicly available to all the investors, so they will know what they're getting involved in. There's no gray area. There's no, there's no thing that there's a lot of the details are black and white. They're all the documentations are sent to every single investor, and of course we then keep track of all these documentation, who sees it, who views it, that type of stuff, and we make sure that those records are kept throughout the whole life of the deal, and even longer, as a matter of fact. But yes, we walk every single developer through that process, and we also help with investors, educating them about what this means to be an investor at this level. What does it mean to be a crowdfund investor? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? What role do you play? What does it mean? What are the disclaimers or disclosures that I need to, as an investor, what do I need to understand before I put my money in this project? So we walk both lines. We help the block developers and block investors. That's what we call them on Block to Block.
Okay.
Understand the process of what they're investing in, as well as the block developer, how to put together such a deal so they're able to present it to the community in a way that is palatable.
I see. So you have this deal. You want to create. You want to present this deal to the community. You have all your paper, and that's the thing. I did go to a meeting a year or so similar, but he had no paperwork. And when you come to the community with such a big deal, it's all about how much they trust you, and that depends on how well you're put together at the meeting when you're saying this is what we want to do. So right. When you have different investors come in, right, this wouldn't be a situation where what if somebody say, well, I only have a 400 or 500 credit score. We're not talking about a credit score because you're putting up whatever monies you can afford to put up on this project. Is that how it goes?
Yes, correct. So credit score is not a factor at all. It's not used from the developer standpoint or the investor standpoint. So it is based on your budget. So what you can invest is based on your budget. As for developers, there is a cap of the amount that they can raise, which is $1,070,000. And so and
$1,070,000 is the cap.
Mm-hmm, yes, in a 12-month calendar period. Okay. So every year or 12 months, for every 12 months, they can't raise no more than $1,070,000. So for most of us, that's one deal a year or maybe two. So
yes. So we put this deal together, right? And you have all your paperwork. Once this deal goes through, Lynn, and I'm just walking through because it's I know it's a lot of moving parts to this, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone get a certificate or some saying they are part investor in this particular property.
Yes.
How does the decision making, just say you have 50 different people, I was thought about how do you get, I decide I want a grocery store, this person might say I want a gas station. How do you get to that decision making, and who makes it? Is it decided on how much money? Can you break that down for me?
So the developer makes a decision beforehand. So it's very clear what's going in that property or what type of project is going to be in that development before it even gets on by the block. Okay. So that decision is made beforehand. So that structure, that shopping plaza, if it has 3 units or 3 spaces in it, there it's identified. 2 of them can be, a grocery store, yes. Or 2 of them can be a pharmacy or a daycare center, and then the other one can be only, a barbershop. Just throwing that out there. So that is determined beforehand based on the space and of course by the developer. As far as once the deal is actually rolling and the funds are raised and the property is purchased, those decisions for the business is still made mostly by the developer, unless the investors have voting rights. So which is really, again, that's up to
Okay.
the developer, letting them know, hey, do how much, what type of voting rights we're going to provide to the investors that are in this deal, which some do and some don't. It really depends on, and if there's multiple people in a project, or let's say there's 3, 4, 500 people in a project, it makes it a little more difficult to give voting rights, because there's 400 to 500 people that you have to wait on one to reply to make a decision.
Yeah.
and so that becomes a little cumbersome, right? And then there's also the, what if you can't get all 400 to 500 of them to agree on anything, so
Yeah.
so all of those things have to be worked out in order to make sure, but all of those things are worked out beforehand, and they're usually spelled out in the offering memorandum.
I see. Yeah, now that really cleared up some things. I was talking to a real estate agent just last week, and they have some property on a golf course, and on that property, they asking $300,000 for that property. And I thought about crowdfunding. I was like, I don't know the first thing to do. So that's why I say this is such a great show. Would you please walk us through talking about Buy the Block? If someone would get in touch with you, what is that process and what do it look like? Because it's not as hard as we think it is, as long as we have somebody like you.
Yes, thank you. So the first and foremost is to reach out and let us know, okay, here I have an interest in raising funds, or I have an interest in a property, and I would like to run this property through the process. We have to first vet the property to make sure that it's not, it's not in foreclosure, it's not under short sale. So, there are certain things that we look for in a project or a property, that it's a viable project. Like, it does have, the cap rate is pretty decent for the area. If the aftermarket value, if it needs repair. So there are certain things that we look at to make sure that it is a project that can go on Buy the Block. Once we look at the property and determine, okay, you know what, this is something that is viable, this is something that can become profitable, 10 years, 5 years down the line, 3.5 years, whatever that time frame is, we then begin the process of asking you what the things that we need. We need, you need to create a company for the property, right? You need to have a company. So an LLC, a corporation, incorporated, you have to have a company for the property. You also need to have your EIN. If you do have your operating agreement, your bookkeeping procedures, all of these things, because you are setting up a, and I tell people this, but and I hate to say legitimate business, but you're setting up a business for this property, because you're going to run it like a business, because you have investors. You're going to run this property like a business. What's coming in, accounts receivable, accounts payable, okay, all of these things have to be, your liabilities, your assets, etc. So we walk you through the process of all the different documentation that you need, all the procedures that you have to have in place. Once we go through all of those things first, then we begin the process of helping you build out your project, or your project page on Buy the Block. We know you need a pitch deck. We'll let you know that. Okay, here's what we need in your pitch deck, in order, because when you're going to VCs, larger VCs, the first thing that they ask you for is your pitch deck. Okay, where's your pitch deck? Do you have it? So even though you're not going to a venture capitalist, you're still coming to the community, and you're going to treat them as they are your VCs, because they're going to be your investors. So you want to make sure that you have your pitch deck together, you have your subscription agreement, you have your operating agreement, your offering memorandum. All of these documentations we walk you through step by step by step, in order to make sure that you get to the point where you are presenting a project that is investable. Okay, so at that point, once we have all of these documentations in place, we walk you through creating an offer page. Everything is done online. For a lot of people that may not know, everything has to be done online. All the the investments, the everything has to go through the portal, which is buytheblock.com. So we put the presentation online. We let you know that here are the rules when you are getting the message out there to your community. Here's the rules. Here's what you can say. Here's what you cannot say. Here's what you can do. Here's what you cannot do. And so we break all of that down for you. And then once we filed everything on your behalf, because we do have to file with the SEC because you are selling shares, guys.
Yes.
In order to be able to have a legitimate investment, it has to be broken down in the form of shares. So we filed that documentation. We filed all of that for you on behalf of your company and the property. And then we go live. We go live on BBE. I'm sorry, on By the Block.
Ooh, this is
And so
awesome.
once you are on there and you are live, you can then, get the word out. Let people know that here's what you have available, here's what you're offering, and here's an opportunity for them to be a part of something, a development in their community.
Awesome.
Who, what, when, where, how. I like to tell people, do not sell your project, necessarily. Sell what you're doing, the why. Why are you, creating this? Why are you buying this? Why is this particular thing
Yes.
this location, this has significance for you? A lot of our projects are dedicated or are in predominantly Black communities. So a lot of time that is the why for us. That's
Yes.
the why for the majority of the investors that are on By the Block. And for those that may not know, we have over 100,000 registered investors that are on By the Block that are looking for projects, actively looking for projects to engage in and support.
Did you say 100,000?
Over 100,000 registered investors.
Wonderful. I just want to, Mary, we have a couple of comments from Mary Figures. She says, no liens, appraisal value, and Mr. John Arment, you may have to make her a recurring guest because this convo is very important. John, we already talked about this right before the show. It's so amazing. John said that. I said, we're getting ready to do part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it takes, because I definitely don't want to cram it all in one show. And I only want to do 30-minute segments because this is so important. And I thank you because you've already told us. So, John, we already on it. We get ready to break this up in segments. I'm very interested in using By the Block. And I think it'll be really I'm going to try to do something with you really fairly soon, because we can actually maybe take it and go and break it down on the show. And they can actually see the process, because I'll be very transparent with it, and what you can really learn if we break down from when I first start the process. Like I say, I picked up a couple of lots myself here in Pontiac and have some real estate, but I want to go on a larger level and give other people an opportunity to, maybe if it wasn't for this deal, they would never ever have the monies or know how to be a part of something like this.
Yes.
I'm so in love with bytheblock.com. We would definitely do a show, maybe a show monthly, weekly, however we decide to do that. Okay, so now we have talked about, so you broke down the process and how we start and how we make it happen. Now let's talk about, because some people be sitting at home and like, I couldn't afford to do anything like this. What is the minimum amount that someone can invest in and be a part of something like this?
$100 is the minimum investment for most projects on By the Block. Some can go a little higher, but definitely the minimum for every project is $100. And so, or most project, not every project, but most projects can start at $100. And that is all you would need to be able to invest in a project on By the Block. You'd register on there, you'd create an account, you create a profile, answer a few questions.
Create an account, okay.
Yes. And so once you answer those questions, you are you self-certify, what they call self-certify. You basically answer some questions about who you are, your net worth, that type of stuff, and then you're ready to invest once you do that. We do have education page that explains all what you are getting involved in and how deals are structured. So we encourage everyone to read the education page, read the our policy, what it means to be a regulation crowdfunding investor. Okay. So all of these things are available and they're accessible. We have an FAQ page as well that breaks down, what does this mean? How much? What's the minimum? What's the maximum I can invest? Can I invest in any project? And one of the things that a lot of people may not know is that you can invest in any You can be anywhere in the US and Canada and invest in a Reg CF project, as well as you can also be in some international locations. And those locations, we have a link that we'll share with you if you ask in order to what those links are, or where the locations are, so you can know if you can invest as an international investor.
Oh, this is awesome. And Bill Huston, Detroit is a great place to use Buy the Block.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So listen to this. So when we come to you, our next show, I'm actually will talk about properties that I've been looking at and how we can break it down so everyone can understand. So you just need at least a minimum of $100 and you can buy in. Have you ever heard of WeFunder?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Explain WeFunder. I think it's sort of similar. How does WeFunder work?
WeFunder focuses on businesses. So, and we strictly, the way we are different from WeFunder is we strictly focus on real estate.
Okay.
And so that's where the difference lies.
I see.
And so they're a much larger company. We definitely will get up there someday.
Yes, you will. You're on your way. And you are the first Black woman. Let's explain. Let's let the audience know who you are. Let's brag on you a little bit.
So the way it works, we are, Buy the Block is the first Black woman-owned Reg CF crowdfunding portal. Okay, so under crowdfunding, I am the only Black woman represented under there.
Congratulations! Can we get some clapping up there? Wait, we have to give you a standing ovation. Congratulations.
And then the other part is there's a second part to that is Buy the Block is the only Black woman-owned real estate Reg CF portal. There's one more. There's a third one. Buy the Block is also the only Reg CF real estate crowdfunding portal that has ever raised $1 million for any project development or any property development.
Queen, Queen, you doing it. Mr. Ellison, great information. We love to use this to fund a veterans project. That's my first cousin.
Nice.
We have some people that's interested. So you already know we are definitely going to go further. What did Bill say? No venture funded like WeFunder.
That is so true. Buy the Block is the only non-venture funded platform. So one of the story behind Buy the Block is we went to the community as well. So the community helped to fund Buy the Block. So in the community, yes. So we use crowdfunding to raise money for Buy the Block to be able to provide a solution to the community. So Black people, 99.9% of Black people in the community help put money together to be able to create Buy the Block. And so I am here because the community put money behind Buy the Block. And so I created a platform to be able to allow other members of the community to do the same. So yes.
So Lynn, once you go on the website, let's talk about your I'm sure you get a percentage. We all going to business to help, but we must, we have to make money. So once you go in and put in a project, are the fees there right away for you? Do you have set fees, or it depends on how large the project? How does that go?
So if the project does not raise any money, Buy the Block makes no money.
Oh,
so we make zero money if the project does not raise the funding that it needs. Buy the Block.
You guys are awesome.
And so if the project raises the money that it's asking for, which is 100,000, 10,000, whatever that is, then Buy the Block makes 4.5% of the raise.
Okay.
There's no fees to investors. So it's zero fees to investors. Investors can invest with at no additional cost. There are platforms out there that do, but Buy the Block does not. And we are, we offer a solution for the community that is, I think, is cost effective. And then there's the other thing that we do negotiate. We do negotiate 2% equity of deals. So that is something that is part of our, the 4.5% is 2% equity in the deal. So that we do negotiate with every offer.
Okay, we're going to take one more question. And the only reason we wrapping this show up is because I want to do several shows, and I know if we put too much in one show, they'll lose it. Like this is one of you. I love this show. I love By the Block series. Rafus Jones Jr. Good evening. I jumped on late, so this may have already been answered. But what's the ROI on the $100 investment?
So ROI questions are very tricky to answer. One, because it will differ from project to project. So there is no set ROI on each project. Each project will be different, and that is set by the developer. So I couldn't tell you exactly what an ROI on $100 would be. It really would depend on the project. And that project, you would have to that developer at that time would state what their percentage rate or what rate they would do. If it's profit sharing, then it basically means that, after all the expenses are paid for the property, then that the funds that are left over, the profit that's left over after the developer is paid, then the investors are splitting that. So it varies from project to project. So it's not anything that I can actually answer and say it's going to be X amount of dollars. So
awesome. You definitely answered that question. I would like to play the short video that we played in the beginning because a lot of people came on late. It's an awesome video that you put together. We're going to play that and then we're going to come back and wrap the show up. But I would love for the ones that came on late to see this short video.
So, you finally decided you want to enter the property group investing world, but you aren't sure what to do? Are you ready to get the money needed to make a big difference in your community? Well, in that case, you're lucky. Simply put, regular people that want to become real estate investors use a dedicated platform like Buy the Block, and they can help you buy the block in your local area if they so desire. Buy the Block is here to help. What do you have to do? 1. Be a little proactive. 2. Find a property. 3. Make an offer. 4. Bring the property to Buy the Block. 5. Get funded. 6. Buy the block. 7. Stop gentrification. 8. Repeat. Make an effort and we'll guide you through every step. Buy the Block will get you approved for your block offering and get you started on becoming a block developer today. To submit an offer to Buy the Block, you need to create an account and fill in the easy details. Once completed, one of our in-house block development success personnel will contact you. Once approved, watch investment dollars start rolling in. Buy the Block platform is the place where thousands of blockvestors are waiting to help you stop gentrification. Blockvestors have the benefit of low minimums. Some investors can offer up to $2,200. Others can opt for way less or more depending on their budget. Buy the Block real estate investment doesn't come with a significant entry level. In fact, it has great approachability. So what are you waiting for? Visit us at buytheblock.com right now and submit your block offer or become a blockvestor today. Become a part of the Buy the Block movement. Join us now. Buy the Block is your way to get into a thriving industry and help your community.
I love it. Let me tell you, Mr. Bill Hudson, he's on it. You see this question? I just love you, Bill. When will Lynn be back on the show again so we can promote to more Black people and promote it on Black Facebook groups to help develop community and build Black wealth? That's what I'm talking about. Leave a legacy and build Black wealth. So, Linda, are you, can we do this next week? Are you available next week?
Yes.
Hot Topic Tuesday, same time?
Same time.
All right. So everyone that's listening, you heard that from Lynn herself. She'll be back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Hot Topic Tuesday. We going live. We building Black wealth. We ban the block back. And when you ban a block, it empowers Black communities to invest in themselves, right?
Yes, definitely.
Coming on the show. Please like, share, comment. We're going to learn about buying the block, and we're going to make a difference. Thank you so much. Stay safe, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know